Okay, so I wanted to do this piece because singing for Learn to Swim and playing with this band is more than just a fun band, a fun tribute band. It is more, and has been and will continue to be, more of a spiritual journey for me. And so I wanted to give you guys the scoop on it. I wanted to give you guys the reasons why. So I wrote this out, so hopefully you guys can, hopefully this will help you on your spiritual journey in life. So, why I sing for Learn to Swim. When I was about 11, right as Einema came out, October 1st, 1996 to be exact, a friend of mine had just picked up the guitar and was into bands like the Smashing Pumpkins, Nine Inch Nails, Tool, and due to being a drummer and him a guitarist, we started listening to the same music. And since we were both raised Christian in Christian households with church-going families, both of our parents saw anything that wasn't paying homage to a Christ-like image to be considered evil or demonic. So of course these bands were the reason. No matter how good or bad we were, the music was to blame for anything, and if anyone lashed out, it was either the music's fault, the message in the music, or their favorite thing to blame, Satan speaking through them. Of course, Christians are the only group that I'm aware of that Satan talks to. I find this very ironic, considering the majority of voices during my stay in the Christian faith wanted me dead. Would have had me on death row had I actually acted upon the voices. They would have made it so I would have never seen my family or friends ever again. The good old voices from church would have put me behind bars or in the ground, if and I would have actually listened to them. And for all of those years, I couldn't see a gun without wondering what it would feel like to kill myself. And wouldn't you know, I was told it was demons telling me this. I find it odd that these demons or evil spirits only come after me when I'm supposedly being a good Christian. But once I started addressing them, wouldn't you know, they disappeared. Now, I can go higher than 2 stories without thinking about suicide. I never thought I would ever make it through that, but one day my roommate said something like, well, you know, you could kill yourself. No one's stopping you but you. But as far as you have been, so far, you have been successful at staying alive. There's always tomorrow that you could kill yourself. So overall, it's always been your choice. Or something like that. So I realized how true that was, and just like that, I am no longer interested in killing this body. It's amazing how the freedom of choice can be completely yours, and once you own it, things that have been hounding you for over half of your life finally vanish. It was a strange year. 2022 came around, and my grand idea was to do one of 2 things. Finally kill myself because it would have become too much to handle, or finally be free of a prison in my mind from a childhood, one that so many times tried to end my life. I want to rewind a minute to another turning point in my life, back in 2018, right after the last girl I was with broke up with me, stole almost all of my instruments, left me homeless and broke. I decided it would probably be a good time to drive my car off of a bridge and just end it. So I left Oklahoma with about enough to last me for a week, thanks to my loving family, and I stayed with my childhood pastor for a week. I was able to catch up to myself and caught up to a deja vu that I had told him about probably 5 or more years before. So I knew I was in the right place. He helped me, and I helped him, and others by just being there. Once I left there, I didn't think I would ever see him again, because I still planned on killing myself once I made it to Fort Worth. I was ready to start again, to return to the source. I didn't see a reason to continue on. Once I left my childhood pastor's home, I figured I would go down in a ball of flames to the song Gravity by A Perfect Circle. My next stop was Fort Worth, the childhood town of my ex-girlfriend. So for 100 miles, I replayed Gravity. Lost again, broken and weary, unable to find my way, tail in hand, dizzy and clearly unable to just let this go. I am surrendering to the gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live. I fell again like a baby, unable to stand on my own, tail in hand, dizzy and clearly unable to just let this go. I am surrendering to the gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live, I choose to live, I choose to live. Catch me and heal me, lift me back up to the sun. Help me survive the bottom. Calm these hands before they snare another pill and drive another nail down another needy hole. Please release me, and I am surrendering to the gravity and the unknown. Catch me, heal me, lift me back up to the sun. I choose to live, I choose to live. I played that song over and over. I viewed my life as over, and it was all a loss. Oh well, I'm done. But if I can make it past that point and still be alive and breathing, then I was going to go after Tool full force, and either that would eventually kill me, or I would finally be free of this problem. As I approached that turn from I-35 to I-20, the bridge I planned to kill myself on, I wiped the tears from my eyes as I rounded the turn, and I can't remember anything else until I arrived at my next client's house about 5 miles away. That night I told my client that it was time for me to address some issues in my life. So I asked her to take me to the closest Buddhist temple. She did, and I spoke to a man there, and he said nothing. It was more than I deserved. I slowly began the process of waking up. I don't think people wake up only once in a lifetime. But I was given another chance to try again. Within the next few weeks, I did all I could to remember what I missed: Stoicism, Taoism, Christianity, Buddhism, any ism that I could find. I sought after the most peaceful practices. All I wanted was peace in my life. All I wanted was peace in my mind, and I was determined to find that at all costs. Many years before, I was told that Christianity, Christ, the Bible, and prayer would give me peace of mind, a peace that surpasses all comprehension, a peace that nothing on earth could give me, a peace only given to us by reading the Bible, constant prayer, and slavery. Servitude to God. But after doing that most of my life, I decided to seek for myself. I don't know why I wanted to kill myself, to mutilate my body, why I saw myself swerving into oncoming traffic, and why the hell I couldn't just live more than a few weeks without thinking such horrific thoughts. Where did these thoughts come from? Why do they keep happening? Every time I see a gun, why did I just want to die? Why was I so scared of 3-story buildings or anything higher than 3 stories? Why was the idea of death lingering on my mind for so long? My mentality was so bad, and the main person that helped me out last time was so far detached from me that I literally lived in fear of dying for 2 years. But I was after myself. I was running for myself, and I was showing no signs of stopping. Once I made it back to Fort Worth, I told my client, I think it's time for me to face this and see if I'm really suicidal or if I feel empathy for people in my life. I had to know. When I left my friend's house, he gave me very useful advice. 1, find a temple. 2, look into Stoicism. So after I talked to a man in the temple in Fort Worth, I started going after Stoicism. One of my favorite lines from Marcus Aurelius: "We are all stronger than we think. Prison won't be fun, nor losing your job, but you will get through it. Sure, it won't be fun, but even if you can't take it, suicide is always an option. And can't you see the road to freedom? It's right in front of you. You need only turn over your wrist." As I listened to this and trying to fight the idea of suicide, I was also fighting to stay alive from another person's battle. I went to my friend Jeremy Norville and talked to him at an open mic in Fort Worth that he hosted. I told him that it was time for me to face this and either win or kill myself. So for about a year, I played Tool songs with Jeremy and saw so many crazy things in my mind. Then, just like that, time was up in Fort Worth, and I headed out with just my dog and few remaining things to Austin, Texas in the middle of 2022. I was fortunate to be able to play some markets for the first year here, but most of my searching was inside to figure out why I'm still alive. I talked to anyone that would listen to my stories and even sought out a therapist. But as I was seeking a therapist for help, I started getting into Buddhism and Taoism, and both of these were candles in a perpetual black second of my life. I did the best I could, but when I was alone with my thoughts, his words came back to me like a gong in my mind. You're still running from the truth. And as I wrote in my first book, what is truth? So I knew I was still searching. Then it happened, everything in Taoism and so much of what I was hearing in Buddhism all made sense. It was like the light in my mind finally flipped on. I was ready to face my biggest things that I thought was threatening my life and my freedom. So I faced the one thing that had been calling me for years, more than half of my life. That was Tool. At the beginning of 2022, I moved into a 3-story apartment, and based on my previous experience, I woke up most days wanting to jump out of the window, and I didn't know why. But being up that high, terrified me in the past. But I had it in my mind that 2022 was my last year to be alive, so I thought to kill myself. This is either going to kill me or heal me. So I accepted that. I had to wake up to a potential suicide for the next 6 months. I was scared for the first few weeks and months, but as I would look at my dogs, looked at my life, and remembered how far I had come, I knew I must stay alive. It's a Tool song. Just wait for it. I lived so close to something that terrified me, and as the days rolled on, my mind got better. I told my roommate about a lot of this, and it was incredible how much insight Narada had and has. I would be dealing with problems, and he was so well read that most of the time he would just give me a few nuggets of information, and I would do some research, then the answers would reveal itself to me. My mind was so bad for so many years. Imagine having to see the movie 1408 And the scene where the old lady jumps out of the window from the seventh story building and plummets to her death, yeah, I had to see that every time I went into a building higher than 2 stories. It sucked. I was terrified for about 23 years of my life. After being told most of my life not to listen to Tool because it's evil, after handwriting most of the Bible in over 7 composition notebooks for over a 5-year period, after this prayer and that prayer, I still wanted to kill myself. I felt so trapped and like it was never going to end. I didn't like the idea of suicide. I didn't like the idea that I saw no end. When I had moved into this apartment, I was moving out when I found a book that a friend of mine had given me back in 2018 called The Tao Te Ching, written probably around 551 to 479 BCE by a man named Lao Tzu. That's Laotzu. And I picked up this book and flipped through it. I found myself crying, understanding that this was my path to freedom. It was the Tao. The Tao you will hear in the Tao you will hear things like practice not doing and everything will fall into place, or those who think they know don't know, or can you take care of the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? And in this, I found more peace of mind than I have ever found. Around the time I found the Tao Te Ching, I was sent a message on Facebook about singing in a Tool tribute band. The one thing I had been told many times was evil, or that it's demonic, and that it's the music that's bad for me because look at how mad you get at me for telling you not to listen to them, or whatever they would say. So after about 13 to 14 years of not playing Tool because of this terrible fate, I decided in 2022 that it was going to be my year of reckoning. And as I was going to Christmas to see my family in Oklahoma, I was sent a message around this time and was asked if I wanted to sing in a Tool tribute band. So I took a few days to think about it. Once I decided it was what I wanted to do, I told Ken, our bassist, why I wanted to, why I wanted to say yes, and why I also wanted to say no. I also wanted to say no, but more so why I wanted to say yes. We talked for about 2 hours, and I told him my life story and said, he said, I don't want you to sing for a Tool tribute band and you wind up committing suicide. And I told them that I don't think that I will, but I needed to do this for myself. I needed to finally face this thing I've been running from. So within the next few days, we got into a group chat, Danny, Jeff, Ken, and I, and as we discussed this band idea, I took it day by day. The first practice we had, I took a deep breath and realized this is the beginning of the end. Either I will only see this year because it will catch me, because I'm not moving, or this dream that I had will come true, and I will hear the calling voices of Maynard. I will go after it, and as in the dream, it's not what you think it is. And to my delight, I have spent this past year going into most shows very nervous, but come out of all of them walking with my head high. Someone once said, Isaiah, I think you were born to sing these songs. I just sang for the last time in 2022 these Tool songs in front of people for 2022 on the 19th of November. It was Learn to Swim's last show of the year, and some of my friends came out. Honestly, I felt like I was finally ready to share my story at the Come and Take It live show, but during a spot where I started to say something, I took a deep breath, closed my eyes to prepare for the why, and when I opened my eyes to start talking, all of the words turned into a crossword puzzle. I took that as a sign to not say anything, and I quickly was okay with that. We went on with the show, and for the most part of the show, I was mobile and walking around the stage until we started playing Jambi. So when we played Jambi, I kept seeing my ex-girlfriend Tabitha, and instead of shutting it out, like before, I just kept looking at the image. And I just sang to the image of Tabitha. And if you listen closely in the video, here and there, I'm choking back tears singing things like, "So if I could, I'd wish it all away. If I thought tomorrow would take you away. You're my peace of mind, my whole, my center. I'm just trying to hold on one more day. So dim my eyes, dim my eyes, dim my eyes. If they should compromise the fulcrum, wants and needs divide me, then I might as well be gone." And even though she is not the person for me, I still value what she brought into my life, and I appreciate her and respectfully return her memories back to the water, so that I could finally meet these things in my life: suicide, Tool, fear, the fear of being alone, being okay with going higher than 3 stories, being bi, and finally finding the Tao. But this was a moment I was hoping would happen. I want my emotions to come out. I want people to know what music, and more so, Maynard and his music has done for me. I never thought I could face these massive fears that have hounded me for most of my life. And with 2022 behind me, I can successfully say I went full force after my fears. If I have learned one thing about this year, it's that the idea of something I fear is often far greater than the actual fear itself. Namaste, and thank you for listening to my story of why I sing for Learn to Swim and why I'm still alive. It's more than just a band for me, and these guys are more than just musicians. This music has saved me over and over, and this band supported me facing myself and told me that if I wasn't okay to let them know. I told them I would inform them if I ever got too bad. And thankfully, it never did for 17 Learn to Swim shows. Not to be corny, but I guess the band was named appropriately for me. I can finally swim and not feel like I'm going to drown. See you guys out there in 2023. Feel free to talk to me about this story when I see you next.